thank you all for coming, for braving what was the rain earlier. Hope you all found it all right. So, who in the room wants to be my next client? Put your hand down, you're ruining it. Try it again. Who in the room wants to be my next client? This is what we want to focus on today. Okay, so think about that knee-jerk reaction, and everyone's default response was no. We may have spoken today, we may have exchanged emails, but realistically, no one's got enough information. No one knows whether they like me. No one knows whether I'm good at what I do. No one knows if they could trust me to do the work that I would do. And this is the frame of mind that I want everyone in as we're going through this, because, yeah, I'll explain as we go along, but basically going straight in and asking people to buy straight away is never going to work as a solution. I'm Louis. You may see by the resemblance. I started up Web Marketer last September. I had a 9-year career in digital marketing before this, and I figured it was time to take it to the next level and basically cherry pick all the good bits that I'd learned and build a business around it. This is Miley. He started the business 6 months after trading, and you may have guessed by the surname, but we're brothers, which is great because it means that we're both fully invested in what we're doing. We're from a small place in Carmarthenshire called Login, which is nice and ironic being in digital marketing. And 9 years ago for me, everything changed. I was a year into my career out of university, and my partner Angharad, her university course was a year longer than mine, and we basically found out that a few months after she was going to be graduating, we were going to be having a Jake. And that was quite interesting because obviously a few months after university, I could never ask her to take up a job and start sharing the workload of providing for a family. So I panicked and I went cap in hand to my boss. I was fairly confident. I'd been doing a good job. I'd been involved in some great projects and everyone was happy with my work. So I thought, okay, well, I've got a pretty good chance here. I'm going to go and I'm going to ask for a pay rise because now I'm the breadwinner. And I got this answer. And it wasn't exactly a no, but it also wasn't a yes. Because let's remember, I was a graphic designer and we don't tend to think about things like I'm doing a job internally, I'm putting creative work out there. I've got no idea what kind of money this is bringing in for a company that's got a sales team that's clearly generating a lot of income. But on that note of having an internal sales team, I got quite fascinated with this question of, how much do you bring into the business? And rather than looking at my work creatively, going, are the colors right? Is the layout right? Does it communicate the right thing? Does it sound good? And asking my fellow designers about whether it was right or wrong, I started to seek feedback from the sales team. What are the clients saying? Is it selling? What's the difference between something that sells products and something that doesn't? Does it have everything on the page for people to make a buying decision? Does it make them want it? Does it make them trust us? And this transition from that creative perspective into a more sales perspective really kick-started my journey from design into marketing. I found Google Analytics and basically never looked back. And I've got a career to be really grateful of. I started my first serious digital marketing job where I did nothing but digital marketing in about 2012. A year later, we won a national marketing award, but from the Chartered Institute of Marketing. And then a year later, we won the same award again. And I put that down to us being really, really intent on what we were doing. We were really focused on all the different things we did. We had a real clear purpose. We knew what their roles were. We knew how we needed to measure them. And by presenting the data and the results, this was recognized by winning these awards. A few years later, I was reached out to on LinkedIn and was headhunted into a senior position in an online advertising agency. A few years later, I started Web Marketer. And this is really what it's all about. We have an online audience that exists out there in the ether. And as a business, we have some customers that are relevant to us. What I was really interested in was in exploring this kind of journey from someone in your audience to someone who's your customer. And that's really what we're about to talk about today. We've kind of divided everything up into 4 segments. We're going to focus the majority on online advertising, audience building, and audience insights. And then I've got a link to share some planning tools with you at the end. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask for an email address, but it is password protected, so it's nice and exclusive for everyone in the room. And we're going to do this in 20 minutes, fingers crossed. So this is the thing we know. 90% of the UK are online. It's a huge opportunity. As businesses, we get pressured into running Facebook ads and Google ads all the time because we know that people are online and people are using these websites. But let's talk about Dick Whittington for a minute, because although there was a huge amount, we know there's a huge amount of opportunity online. Well, back in the day, Mr. Whittington was told the streets of London were paved with gold, and he thought he was going to go and literally mine the pavements and make his fortune. And it didn't really pan out like that. So this is what we need to think about, is that there is a huge opportunity online, but people aren't lining up on some imaginary checkout out there waiting for us to turn up to this shop and start being flooded with sales. We actually need to get quite enterprising. And a cat pick is always successful, so I didn't do a cat pick, but I'm going to tell you a story about a cat. Because the interesting thing about the story of Dick Whittington was that he thought the streets of London were going to be paved with gold. But when he realized that they weren't, he took the only opportunity he had. An opportunity presented itself to sell something. Everyone in the house that he lived in was owned by a merchant, and the merchant said, "Give me something to sell, and I'll sell it on my next voyage." Dick Whittington only had one thing, which was his cat. And in some faraway land, a king and queen were having a royal banquet, and every time the food went down on the table, a plague of rats would come and eat it all before their guests could. And when they saw this cat, they literally gave a ship full of gold that came back to Dick Whittington, who was poor and hungry. So, what's the moral of the story for us? I keep saying opportunity, and it is all about opportunity. But we can't go to the internet and expect that we're going to generate sales straight away. We have to be more enterprising about it. And we're all enterprising people in the world, in the room, so we can do this. So, okay, 2 pieces of content, both of them say buy now. No one in the room is going to buy either of them right now because we're asking too much too soon. But if we had to go and buy one of these things, are we more likely to buy some sweets or a 3-piece suite? Sweets, okay, cool. Correct, obviously correct. There's so much less decision that goes into buying sweets than goes into buying a new sofa suite. And when we're talking about buying a much higher ticket item, we have to stop thinking in this way that, you know, the default, everyone does it right from the start, planning a piece of content, and we psych ourselves up into this is going to be the next best thing, and then it isn't the next best thing. So we have to remember that it's a journey. Google released a study called the 0 moment of truth that I'd really recommend going and reading. The 0 moment of truth is that moment when you realize that you need something. It's not a marketing thing, it's just someone going, I suddenly need this thing. And winning the 0 moment of truth is all about what you do next. What are people going to do? Are they going to speak to their friends and family? Are they going to take to Google? Are they going to go on social media and look up certain things? Who knows? It's going to depend on who it is, what the product is. But winning that 0 moment of truth is really, really important. And in that study, Google said that they estimated it took 10.6 touch points with a brand before someone actually bought. So no one goes, I need something, I'm going to buy this thing straight away. There's on average, 10.6 things that they go through before buying. This isn't an official thing, but it's going to help us think about this process. So at the top, we've got hundreds of thousands of people. At the bottom, we've got a few people. On the right, we've got a large investment of time or data or information. And on the left, we've got a small ask. And also, this white ball here, put that in context of your own business and think about where on this chart it's going to go. We all got it? Yeah, cool. So this kind of loosely tells you where you need to start. If your audience has got lots more people in it, chances are advertising is going to be a good fit. If it's a smaller ask, you don't have to take them on such a long journey. If it's much higher value, you're going to have to take them on a long journey. Think buying a house versus buying a pair of trousers. It's a very different ballgame. And this idea of a story and a journey ties into something that we see time and time again, which is, I tried Facebook ads, it didn't work. Okay, what part of Facebook ads didn't work? Because what we would like to see is we had this strategy, Facebook was a part of this, and it didn't work. In that case, fair enough. But without some strategic thinking, it's very difficult to disqualify anything, and I'm going to take you on that journey now. So if anyone runs a wedding venue in the room, I'm going to apologize now because this is massively simplified. So I'm not saying this is everything a wedding venue does, but bear with me. We might have this sales process as a wedding venue. So knowing that people interested in getting married might go to a wedding fair. A venue might put a stand up in a wedding fair because they know they have an active audience there. As part of that wedding fair, they may encourage people to go on a venue visit to get a real feel for the place and get an idea of what they're going to be experiencing. On that venue visit, they may try to book you in with a wedding planner to run through your options and how much it's going to cost. Now, every stage that someone goes through, they become exponentially more likely to buy. This is the whole idea of a journey in storytelling. So if we were going to write a digital strategy, we would look at this strategy, we would look at this existing strategy and go, okay, how can we mimic this online? Someone searching for wedding-related things, the equivalent of a wedding fair is going to be search, people looking for weddings, people looking for wedding venues. And it may also be people engaging with wedding-related content is going to qualify someone looking to weddings. We can mimic the feel of a venue visit using videos on various channels. And that sales consultation, we can at least start the process using Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, website live chat, email forms, you name it. So, what is a strategy here? So we've got this here, but what does it look like in real life? So let's run through it in a bit more technical detail. There are 720,000 people who are engaged and interested in weddings on Facebook. So there's hundreds of thousands of people. And a wedding is a bigger investment than buying a car, but less than buying a house. So it's not going to be at the top of the large investment scale, but it's going to be somewhere near there. And we know that there's this existing strategy in place. So we'll run through what this can look like technically. So thinking back to when I put that slide up and asked who was going to be my next client, going in too early is going to turn people off. So we might take our best performing organic content that's full of lovely pictures and really inspiring content that's not asking people to buy, and we might boost those posts to reach more people. Anyone that engages with that content, we might build an audience of, so that we know that they're further along the decision-making journey, and then we might serve them a video of the venue tour. Anyone watches that venue tour, we might then put them into an audience where we're going to deliver them a lead ad to encourage them to download PDF brochures, to send them to the website to fill in an email inquiry, or to send ads to start a messenger on Facebook Messenger. When they complete the desired action, filling in a form, whatever it is we want them to do, we'll have their email address. The wedding planner may be able to get in touch by email to arrange a phone call to add that personal touch, to then book a meeting in person that then makes people exponentially more likely to buy. But first off, we need to know who we're talking to and how we engage with them. Facebook's got a really useful tool called Facebook Audience Insights. And if you go on here, it'll tell you about most audiences on Facebook. And so let's see what they say about people who are getting married. So we're looking at the United Kingdom. We're looking at people who are engaged. That's going to give us a 50-50 split loosely between men and women. But that's not enough because people who are engaged may be a long way off looking to get married. So we need to make sure that they're interested in weddings. They're engaging with wedding-related content. Now, interesting that the Facebook data says that this audience is now 79% women and 21% men. And 50% of the entire audience is between the ages of 25 to 35. So great. We know that we're communicating with women. We know that we're communicating with women between the ages of 25 and 34. We know that 71% of this audience went to university. And now bear with me because this isn't how we target the audience. We know that when we target the audience, this is who the people are. So we know that we're speaking to educated people, and this is going to influence how we engage with them. It's going to tell us the types of categories that they engage with, the type of content, And yes, it's going to show us that they're engaging with wedding type content, but it's also going to show us the type of alcohol that they like. And maybe related, maybe not, but also parenting. But we might look at these different pages and this different content, and it might tell us about what they like, what content we should be like to resonate with them. And we're also going to get to see what Facebook pages they like as well, in order of relevance to our audience. And again, we can look and do some exploring. So back to that strategy, boosting posts. We just looked at it, okay? So we've got people who are engaged and interested in weddings, looking at wedding-related contents. We also know that engaging with friends and family is really, really important. If a friend tags someone in a piece of content, that's exponentially more likely to vouch for something more than advertising is. So let's target friends of people who are newly engaged. And remember, we're not selling here. People do business with brands they know, like, and trust. So we're literally just giving them a flavor of our personality. Next, all well and good saying we're going to target people who engage with content. How do we do that? Facebook has a setting in the deepest, darkest corners of the Facebook ads management program called custom audiences. Custom audiences is really, really powerful. And this is one of the things that we see a lot is when doing Facebook ads, sometimes we limit it to just boosting posts. If you go into the back end of the advertising settings, then there's a wealth of opportunity there. So we can build audiences off of people that visit a website. We can upload a list of email addresses, providing we've got permission to do so. We can run audiences based on app usage. We can target people who have viewed videos, engage with Instagram, filled in a lead form, said they're interested in coming to an event. Don't worry, you're not all in an audience right now. Anyone who's engaged with an instant experience that used to be called Canvas, story for another time, and anyone who's done something on your Facebook page. When we click into the Facebook page, we can see here are all the options. We might here say people who engage with any post or ad because we know they've engaged with our boosted posts. This is the retargeting that most people know about, retargeting website visits. So we're going to take people who visit the website as well, because if they have visited our website, there's a chance that they're much more interested in our services than someone who hasn't. And finally, if as a wedding venue we're running open days, we might also want to build an audience of anyone who's engaged with the event that we put on Facebook. So we've built an audience, we've boosted posts, we're building audiences of anyone who engages. Now we need to send them the venue video tour using those audiences that we've built. And my best recommendation for running video campaigns is we're all obsessed with driving traffic to websites. Sometimes that's not the best approach because we make videos for people to watch them. So let's not boost video content with a traffic objective. Let's run videos to make sure as many people watch them as possible. Because let's remember, we're going to be building an audience of everyone. And I'd always much prefer to pay less money for a video view than paying through the nose for website traffic from a video type creative. And when people watch the video, we're going to be building an audience again into a new audience that we then roll out the sales part of the campaign, where we're going to encourage people to submit a lead ad, to generate a website inquiry, or to interact with Messenger, where the sales team can take over. And when we run out of data, because this has been so successful, I'm not promising that this is a successful approach. This is all about thinking about it. We can take our customer data, and we can take the data of our most valuable customers and ask Facebook to build us an audience that looks like those people. So we no longer have to focus on people who are engaged and looking at wedding content. We can now let Facebook take over and start to build the audience that we want to target. We're not running Facebook ads anymore. We're running a strategy. And running a strategy that helps us nurture people basically saves money. If you nurture, you stand to generate 50% more sales-ready leads at a 33% lower cost. And the other thing to think about is that, going back to what I said about before about Facebook ads, if you just run Facebook ads, it either works or it fails. If we have a strategy, we have a baseline to gauge it off of. So it may not be that it works or it fails. It may be that we've interpreted our strategy wrong. So let's run through the theory behind it. Okay, so we've got the top of the funnel, which is your know, like, and trust engine. The next phase of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, is going to be that key information. What do people need to know about what you do? What do they need to know to be able to make a decision about whether they want to work with you? And then the bottom of the funnel is all about generating leads and sales. If you have a high value product or service, you're very unlikely to be able to move to the bottom of the funnel before nurturing people through. That buy now button with the suites, that's bottom of the funnel stuff. And when we have very clear things doing very clear roles, we also have to be very clear about how we measure them. So with our boosted posts, it's not going to generate sales. We're not going straight in there with a buy now. We're building reputation. We're building our brand. So we want to know, is it engaging? How many people are engaging with it? What percentage of people that see the ads are engaging with it? How much is it costing per engagement? The same for the video views. The sole purpose of those video views is making sure people have the information that they need. So how many people viewed that video? How many people that viewed the video watched it to the end? Is there some key content in the last 3 seconds? If someone watches 80% of the video that they're missing, can we move that earlier? What is the cost per video view? And one thing that I forgot to say is that building an audience using video views is 10 times more cost effective than website visitors. So if your retargeting from your website isn't generating visitors fast enough, run some video because it's a lot more effective. And now finally, the bottom of the funnel stuff, we're looking at conversions. We're looking at leads and sales. How many of the people that we show ads to are converting into a lead or sale? How much is it costing us? And we should know from those leads how many convert into business and what's the lifetime value. And is this a profitable approach? If not, let's do a Dick Whittington again, get enterprising and make it work. So hopefully you've enjoyed the talk. Hopefully it's helped get those creative juices flowing as to how we can start looking at strategies. Here are 10 useful tools that we use for our planning. If you go to that URL, just have to type in the password 10 top tools and you'll get a bit of an explanation around what those tools are and how you can use them. It's not an exhaustive list, but if you want to know more, get in touch and we'll be happy to run you through. So you've been fab. Thanks a lot for listening. Yeah, cheers.